All right. Welcome to today's changelog. Welcome everyone. You're welcome to drop things or questions in the chat. So this is the Solana changelog. This is what we do. We're going to go over some of the changes that happen every week. I'm also going to bring up a special guest in just a moment once I finish the basic changes. We're going to go talk about Surfpool and TXTX. All right. So first off, let me switch this real quick. All right. Cool. So going through some of the changes that have happened this week. So this one is the first one I'm going to go over. This one was by Brendan Watts. He basically did a PR for reducing the vote transaction batch size. What he found was like, oh, with a batch size of 64, there's quite large entries, which caused a lot of like erasure batches and causing basically it just caused a lot of issues. So remove for performance reasons, he is reducing it from 64 to 16. This won't affect you as a developer, but it's good enough. Another one is change by Ann Fitzgerald on the Onza team. Basically, he changed it from having two threads to a single banking stage thread for votes. So what we would have is you'd have votes happening on previously two threads. Only one of them does the receiving. It's kind of like an old way of doing the transaction processing. For optimization purposes, we've basically reduced the channels into one channel, leaving them separate, and so that allowing it to easily track gossip and versus non-gossip. So that's just another change that happened. This was a pretty big change, and I think this is everything. So Alessandro did a bunch of things with the XDP retransmitter on, I believe it's Turbine. Yeah, it's Turbine. This is my understanding a huge change. Now it hasn't gone live yet. I think, let's check, has it hasn't been tagged? No, it has not been tagged. So it looks like it's a 2.3 change. Got a huge amount of review. It's a pretty big change, 3,000 lines of code, but it basically allows it to be more performant. So as with the rest of the theme of today, all these changes are like larger performance increases or boost on the validator. This is yet another one. So the last thing before I get into Anchor stuff and then TXTX is if as we're going into Solana 2.2 in I think it's really in the next few weeks, one of the things that you'll find is using the 2.2 SDK for Rust will have a bunch of different changes. Now, first off, why are these changes? Why do these exist? The changes exist because the original Solana SDK was massive. It had all these different things in it. And every time that you wanted to do a Solana program build, it would end up first building all this stuff that maybe you don't even use, and then allow you to actually test your code. Now, in order to make this simpler and make it easier for you to build your code quickly, Kevin Heavey and a few others did a bunch of work to break up the SDK into multiple like component crates. And so what you end up finding is with 2.2 SDK, you're going to end up having to import different from these paths, different crates instead of just this massive crate to begin with. So if you do this, your performance or compile time on your builds will be much shorter, and it'll be really good for you to very quickly iterate on your programs. But it is a change that you definitely need to watch out for. If you are interested in figuring out what are all the different path changes, Kevin Heavey built this big list of path changes. Definitely use it and give feedback. And if you do run into issues with integrating the 2.2 SDK, please reach out. I'm more than happy to help. And the final one is if you ran into issues with 0.31, where you're hitting this proc macro issue. Let me showcase exactly what it looks like. This is a proc macro issue that we mentioned last time. Something about like no method for file found or no method name for local file found. The way to fix that problem is you upgrade to 0.31.1 and you make sure you have the latest nightly installed. So you do rust up update, I believe. So that is what you can do to fix your problems if you run into this issue with Anchor. New builds should not run into this issue. It's more like people that haven't updated their CLI or the Anchor version in a long time will run into this issue, but it's just something to note. But without further ado, let us continue the next bit. So first off, let me welcome our guests. Welcome. So
Hey.
I'm joined today by Micaiah, right?
Yes, Micaiah, you got it.
Micaiah, who will be going over TXTX and Surfpool, which I am really excited about, and how this could potentially make Solana development easier. But yeah, tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're building.
Yeah. So I'm co-founder of TXTX. My name is Micaiah. We're building a tool called Surfpool. Can you hear me all right? Just to be sure.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Some context on my co-founder and myself. We started building this, and then we entered it into Coliseum, and we were the infrastructure first place on the recent Coliseum hackathon. And we both went through the Turbine program, and we've been getting more and more involved in the Solana ecosystem and meeting a bunch of developers. And we also had some guidance from Jacob on like some pain points that developers were having. And we are very passionate about developer tooling, and it's kind of our goal with Surfpool to build the best initial touch point for developers. Like when they're starting, we want to have a first-class tool that our goals are to just increase the velocity of shipping, and at the same time, the safety and the security in shipping code, because there's a lot of parts where you're vulnerable, and your vulnerabilities expose your users to the same vulnerabilities. So we want to increase velocity while increasing safety. And so the tool that we started with was Surfpool, which is kind of like, you have the Solana test validator, which is amazing, but it has limitations because it is so closely mirroring an actual validator, which gives a lot of cool features, but like you can't cheat the system the same way that we are. And so we've built a validator that can kind of cheat the system, meaning we can fork mainnet live on the fly. You don't have to download a bunch of state ahead of time. When we process the transactions, we can fetch the accounts from mainnet that you need. And so it kind of just works out of the box with CPIs and stuff like that. And then we're adding to this. We're very passionate about infrastructure as code. It's going to, and we want to bring that to Web3. Like Web2 has this very robust system for deploying things, and we want to bring that.
Did we lose Micaiah? Let me double check.
Hey, am I here?
Yes, you're here.
Okay,
You're back.
I could see and hear the whole time, and your video never stopped, but I could tell something was off.
Okay, yeah, I double checked. Sorry about that.
No, all good.
Okay, so you mentioned a few things that I wanted to ask about. So first off, you mentioned that it can help with security. How does TXTX help with security on your end, like keeping your deployment secure?
Yeah. So it is a lot to unpack. So I can get into a demo of what the infrastructure as code looks like. But essentially, you can describe what your on-chain deployment looks like. You can describe with like a committable file what your off-chain like indexing and stuff looks like. But then we also have this signing infrastructure that when you are deploying locally, kind of the current best practice is you've got a key pair on file, right? And then when you want to deploy to mainnet, you probably use the same key pair on file. Or if you're using a squad, you like temporarily change ownership of your program to this other key pair. And it's just risky. You're using a lot of stuff that's on disk, and we want to make like signing with a web wallet, signing with squads to do your deployments. We're making all of that like a first-class citizen, so that the same deployment flow you're using for local on when you're deploying to Surfpool or to the test validator, you can do the same exact flow. The only thing you're swapping out is just using a more secure signer when you go to mainnet. And so that's kind of what we're doing to make things more secure.
Okay. How does the web wallet stuff work? I don't think I've seen that yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you want me to start the demo?
Sure. We can get into it.
Yeah.
I'll turn off my screen. Once you share, it should automatically pop up.
All right.
Or there we go.
Cool. Okay. Well, getting into the web wallet is a few steps ahead. I will get there. So I guess the first thing, can I start with some basics of Surfpool and then I'll get to the infrastructure?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, cool. All right. Can you see my terminal window?
Yep.
Okay, so the like basic mainnet forking feature is pretty easy to showcase if we do Solana test validator. It's important to spell things right. There we go. So then,
Could you make it bigger?
yes. Is that any better?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Okay, so my validator's started up and I'm just gonna fetch a program, right? This exists on mainnet. It's a Metaplex program, but it doesn't exist on the validator, right? Because validator is just a local validator. If, however, I do Surfpool start, and then I run the same command, I'm getting data back. And so just like very high level basic, we receive the transaction, we see, oh, Surfpool doesn't know about this account. Let me fetch it from mainnet and insert it into the local state. And now we know about this account and we can, and that has a lot of implications as you're developing programs with CPIs and stuff. It makes things a lot easier.
Does it only do when you're doing read calls?
So if like, for example, if you have a transaction that's writing to a state.
Yeah, so the cases that I can think of is that we're writing to state, we're initializing state, or we're reading state. And so you might want to fork based off of your different choices of what you're doing with that state. If you're allocating state, you obviously don't want to read, but if you're writing and you don't have the account, or you're reading, you might want to grab that account. Or do you handle all that?
Yeah, so if you send a transaction, before we execute the transaction has a list of all of the impacted accounts, right? And so we are going to pre-process it and check all of those. But then like we have, I'll need to change this to localhost. We have a set SVM set account where I can, this is an RPC method. I'm hitting Surfpool. I can say what's the address that I want to hit, and then like I can set the LAN ports, I can set the data, et cetera, et cetera. And so this is like doing a write, and it's kind of just hacking the SVM and just overriding the state. But like if this account doesn't live locally, then we're missing all the other fields. We're missing who's the owner, what's the current data if I'm only setting the LAN ports. So that's going to fetch from mainnet, try and find it, use it if mainnet has it. If mainnet doesn't have it, then it's going to give like some sensible defaults to this. But then like if I was to specify every field, if I specify the owner and the executable, like if it's executable or not, the rent epic, the data, everything, then it's just not going to fetch anything from mainnet and will write directly exactly what the account should be. And so I can send this, and then like I can get account info, and we'll see, the LAN ports I just set, there's no data, the owner is the system program, all that stuff is automatically done, filled in with sensible defaults if you just set your LAN ports.
Got it. So this set account, is that just using the light SVM set account?
Yeah, we do some other stuff like fetching mainnet first just in case to see if it's there and to give sensible defaults. And then you can also do like set token account. And this is like you put your address, you put the mint address, and then you put like
amount or something.
Yeah, amount. We have all of the fields are escaping me off the top of my head, but you can put a delegate and the delegate amount, and then if it's not the default token program ID, you can put like token 22 and put that ID here. And so that's the same thing. We're using set account under the hood, but we will encode the token account properly for you. We will find the associated token address for you and just kind of do all of that work for you, so you don't really have to think about it.
That's awesome. So I know like one of the big issues that people have is USDC, right? They want to test with always the same mint as mainnet. So they want to clone an account. Right now, like the way that you would do it is you'd have to basically would pull the account from mainnet. If you don't own it, like if you don't have like a local key pair that you suddenly have USDC on it, you have to go into the ledger, update, restart with the right Genesis, and then go from there. Basically, it's dead on arrival. But so this just makes it super easy.
Exactly. And I want to, this is getting me excited to show you the next thing, because we've also made this really easy to like set up your environment with the infrastructure as code. So I want to show, I'm in a program directory. This is an Anchor program, but if you're using Pinocchio or anything else, just like native projects, it all works the same. You run Surfpool start here. I'll throw in -- watch to show that feature, but it's going to detect you've got a program here. I can say, I want to deploy this program, enter the name of this workspace, and it's going to create these infrastructure as code files. And so, we call these runbooks, and there's this deployment runbook that is going to do this action. We're going to give it a name, deploy this protocol, and the action is SVM deploy program. And we can say like what the program is and who's signing it and all that stuff. But we can also do something that's like action setup surfnet, SVM setup surfnet, set token account. And I can say the public key and the token. And this I can just put, we have some like basics already done. I can just put USDC and the amount, and like it's automatically just going to do that for you right as you deploy your protocol. It's going to set like my signer that I've created has this much USDC. And so like, you really, once you set this up once, you really don't have to think about it.
So are these, do you have aliases on some mints, or is it always?
Exactly. Yeah. You can provide the mint token address, or we've got aliases on, we just like got like the top 50 tokens and put those.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so, I guess just to explain what just happened, right when we started this, we created this infrastructure as code, and we have processed 242 transactions. We've deployed the whole protocol here onto the SurfNet. And you had asked about the web wallet signers, right? This infrastructure as code, it can target different environments. And so like our manifest, this txtx.yaml, we define environments, local net or devnet, and you can add one for mainnet. And in your runbook, you also have these files that are associated with that environment. So like this file, signers.devnet.tx, will only be loaded when I'm targeting devnet. And this one will only be loaded when I'm targeting localnet. And so like I've defined my signers here as just a secret key signer getting my key pair on file. But if I just change this out, say on devnet, I want to use web wallet. Now, whenever I execute this runbook, I'm going to be able to open up my browser and just like see every transaction I'm executing and sign things with my web wallet instead.
Wait, how does that look? Like, does it load some kind of web UI for you?
Yeah, you've never seen this feature?
I have not.
Oh my word!
I've never seen this one.
I will go ahead and I'll just do this on localnet. And so when you run your infrastructure as code, you like your runbook has a name. It's defined in this manifest. So we have a runbook named deployment. So I'm going to do Surfpool run deployment. And then this -u flag says do it. We call it unsupervised mode. It's just gonna execute everything in the CLI. But if we remove that, then it's in supervised mode. And we're gonna get an error. I just changed some things in this file, so it's probably gonna yell at me. Unable to resolve signer.authority. Oh, I need to patch in env localnet possibly. Okay. I forgot to provide the environment that we're running. And So
What
yeah,
what
starting your web console.
what environment does it use by default? Does it use what your Solana config is pointed to, or do you always have to set that?
Um, I think we've made as a safety thing. We've made it so you have to set it because like yeah, these while like these are arbitrary and up to you, right? I
Right.
can name this environment anything and provide any RPC URL, and we don't want people to accidentally like do a default environment
Right.
that they've misconfigured and now they've spent funds on mainnet. So yeah, you have to kind of be explicit about this.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, if I open localhost, I've got this
Oh, cool.
local web UI where it's like, okay, we've got a wallet named Authority that I need to connect. I actually don't think I have a wallet in this browser.
I
I have so
mean,
many browser profiles. Okay. Okay. And so, yeah, I've already connected on this before, but connect the wallet. We've got this balance. Connect this wallet. I've got this balance. Start the runbook. And you can go through and like sign each transaction in the browser and go through in that way.
is there any way that you can do where you sign the buffer transaction? So not the deployment buffer to deployment transaction, not just every buffer transaction?
Yeah, exactly. If you see the transaction log here
Mhm.
in Surfpool, when we did the deployment, we've got an ephemeral authority account will be created and funded to write to the buffer account. So we just make the authority for you. You just have to sign a transaction to fund that.
Okay.
It's explained here in our supervised UI. This transaction creates an ephemeral account that will execute the deployment signed by the payer. So that's going to write to the buffer so you don't have to sign 300 transactions in the browser. And then you'll do another signature to transfer the authority at the end.
That's awesome. That makes it just so much easier. Like that alone, we've already made it and gone through like 5 or 6 features that are awesome, but that alone as well is another feature that just makes it so much easier to deploy.
Yeah, and we want to this is a work in progress. You can deploy to a squad, you just can't upgrade with a squad yet, but it'll be the same thing. Like you've just got this button instead of sign transaction, it'll be like sign with squad, and you can open up your squad's page and the transaction will be there for everyone to approve, and then this will go to the next page. And so you're like you're doing all of your deployments actually with the squad and not having to like copy CLI commands and manually transfer authority and stuff. It's like all going to happen for you.
Right. Okay, cool. And then you would just have, I guess squads wise, you would just have the authority. So you would just set the authority to be the squad's authority, and then the ephemeral key pair will will do the buffer deployment basically, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, and then also it'd be really cool, I guess. And I assume this is what you're working on, to where it automatically assigns after that buffer deployment to the squad's authority. So you just literally hit a button and you go.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it.
This is so much easier. Okay, cool. And you haven't even gotten to everything yet. Like this is just the tip of the
Oh, wait,
iceberg.
there's more. Yeah, and we haven't even gotten to the new feature. I thought you knew about the supervisor UI.
I've never seen the UI. Well, I guess that's my fault. I've just been doing the normal stuff. I've been mainly using this for like the Anvil capabilities, the
Yeah.
copy for mainnet state, because that alone just makes it so much easier to code. Like for example, if I wanted to do one of the things that I did in the boot camp, right? We did this crazy long 19-hour boot camp. Is I was using Switchboard, and in order to use Switchboard, what is it? Switchboard randomness. You need 13 accounts or something crazy. And I had to figure out and intimately get to know Switchboard's smart contract in order to figure out all those accounts.
Yeah.
With this, I don't have to think about that. And that it just made like I spent maybe 30 minutes trying to figure that out back then. And here I don't even have to consider like reinvent the wheel again. I just do it. It's like how you did at the beginning with Metaplex's metadata program. Since that's not default in the test validator today, you basically have to get the Metaplex metadata program and all the different things that come with it. With this, you don't have to care. Like create NFT, great. You just grab everything you need.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the goal. I'm glad that's working for you.
This is like these types of features is why I think this is going to replace Solana Test Validator probably in the next 6 months.
I love it.
Like I don't see at this point a reason for people, like, even, I guess the only reason, and we can ask this, is that I don't think in the current state it has all the RPC API
Yeah.
requests yet.
Yeah. We've implemented our first like kind of tier one goal was implement all of the RPC endpoints needed to deploy programs and point an explorer to it and like see some data. But there's a lot of RPC methods that could still be added that we're working on. So yeah, those will definitely be coming. We're, you know, we love building in the open, and we love that we're open source. Like all of this code, you can see it, but we're also trying to work on like, we want to be here, we want to be around, we don't want to like run out of money, grant money, and then good luck, you know, maintaining Surfpool. And so we're working on some like software as a service features as at the same time we're doing this. And so yeah, it's definitely a priority, but balancing those priorities.
Cool. Do you want to get into some of the software as a service features?
Sure. Yeah. We've got one that is only, so this is only available locally right now, but I think it's really easy to imagine where this is going to go. So when we created this infrastructure as code, we also created this subgraphs file that's going to have an action called svm deploy subgraph. What a subgraph is like, it is an index of the chain that is only related to the data you want, which is your program, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we look into my program code, I've got this emit CPI. And so pretty much when you write a program with Anchor, you can emit these events, and you can define exactly what this event struct looks like, right? So whatever data you want to have in a database, you can create a struct and emit that event when your instruction is called.
Mm-hmm.
And then this subgraphs file is saying whenever our program is invoked on chain, we're indexing the chain. We check every single transaction that's executed on Surfpool. We see if it's this program ID, and if the event is this event, split transfer event, which is, you know, that's the event we defined here,
Mm-hmm.
then we put it into a database for you. So you'll see in our logs at the very end, your subgraph can be reached at this. If I go here, I've got a GraphQL console. Like, you've got a GraphQL endpoint that you can start querying. It has got your event as it's defined in that struct. You know, like, these are my, if I go back to the event definition, I annotated my struct with some comments. This is the event. This is the amount transferred to the recipient one, et cetera, et cetera. That is all reflected in your database. So you have like an annotated database that is ready to query. If I have a runbook ready, I think, to actually invoke a program that we just deployed. Need to add one thing to my manifest here. Cool. So yeah, I have another runbook here that is send token. This is just going to process instructions. It's going to call what we have deployed. So I can do Surfpool run send tokens. I've got a signature back. You know, I just called my protocol, and now if I go to GraphQL and I run this query, I've got the data, right?
That's awesome.
We've got the recipient that received, recipient 2 that received funds, the amount they received, the transaction hash, the token program ID, the mint. We just transferred USDC to 2 people because that's what that program does. And we have a database entry of that happening. So like, the goal here is sorry, let me find the video again. Okay, yeah, the goal here is you can build locally with Surfpool. You have a database, a backend that you can start building your front end against. And then when you go to mainnet, you have the exact same schema. Because your database schema is defined in infrastructure as code, we just have to get the mainnet indexing ready. And now we can create this index for you, and you have a backend, like right when you deploy, you have a backend that reflects your program. And every time you upgrade your program, like we're working on this, like I can say the block height of my upgrade. And so if the schema changes, we are always keeping that database migrated in the same format of your upgraded program. And so like you've got a very consistent database that's tied exactly to when the program is deployed, that's automatically made for you. And you can build your front end on the same schema locally as you are on mainnet.
Could you do something with like there's the program metadata program, which is has people are using today to store IDLs on chain. Could you use something like that to store your different
Yeah.
block heights as well?
Yeah, we're these are like features that we haven't started, but we're like really eager to. There's two things. We want to be able to do like on your deploy program, you can just do like metadata and you can say IDL program, or yeah, it'll be something like get my program from file system.idl.
Mm-hmm.
And like we will automate, and you can add whatever other metadata. You can just put whatever you want and we will automatically deploy it to the metadata program for you alongside this. And then we also want to work with the Solana registry service.
Are y'all already integrated with the program metadata program?
Not yet.
Okay, I was like, that just came out. So
No. Yeah, and we also want to be able to do like your Solana registry service name, like my protocol. And so then now we automatically register this with the Solana registry service. And so instead of like your program living at some ID, it can be my protocol.txtx.sol. And you've already got, and I don't know actually what the, is it .sol for the Solana registry service?
I do not know at the
I don't remember either. But yeah, whatever it is, like you will have an endpoint ready to go, already deployed alongside your deployment, which, yeah, super cool stuff that we want to be doing. So yeah, we want to make integrating with all of those metadata programs, stuff like that, just first class citizen into the language and make it really easy to deploy your infrastructure.
Would you also do like the build verifications as well here?
I'm not super familiar. Can you?
So they have verifiable builds to where whenever you deploy to mainnet, you run a verifiable build and you upload the verifiable build on hash to your to the program metadata program, so that people can basically verify the source code that you say it is equals the source code on chain.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. Yep.
Okay, so this basically can do all the different things that everybody has to do manually today, just automatically, or will in the future.
Exactly. Yeah, and we want to have it all because it's in these runbook files. Like it's all committable, traceable. You can have it in your repo so that when we're working as a team with multiple developers, like you don't have to wonder, did we deploy the metadata, or what metadata did we deploy, or what was the SNS name? It's all committed in your repository.
Got it. So different question, going back to the set accounts. When you do the set accounts on local, does that automatically update your runbook, or do you have to then update your runbook yourself?
No, that's not going to update your runbook. I can walk through this send tokens runbook that I ran a minute ago to actually like invoke our program.
Is there any way that you can like set a write mode that writes a new runbook when you're doing all this, doing a bunch of set accounts, so that you don't have to update it all yourself?
So you like Surfpool, when it receives one of these RPC requests, it writes those to a runbook file.
Yeah, so that like it keeps your history. So then you can also transfer, like, okay, I built this from scratch. Here you go, friend or coworker.
Yeah. That's super cool. I don't think that would even be that difficult.
It just like automatically generates a new runbook for you.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So like I can set up an environment and I can give you a file so that you have the exact same environment.
Mm-hmm.
Right now it's manually writing these. So like I can write this and I can do a set token account. I can do a set account. We'll also be doing like set program account, so I can change that I'm the owner of USDC now, like of the actual program, or I can, set myself as the owner of something. But it's all manual. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, because I can think that the one way that, like, while these are really cool, the one way that I think these would fail is if you don't have an automated way of doing it, because ultimately, like, people don't like writing this stuff.
Yeah.
So if you can have it to where, like, it's automated and everything's just captured and built on the fly, then no one has to care, and it's all good basically.
Yeah. And one thing we're doing on that front is at least we can make it that only one person has to write everything. So this is the newest feature we've got. Perfect segue. Thanks for that. If you're working with a team and you want to like share an environment, you can do Surfpool Cloud Start instead. And oh wait, did I? Okay, yeah. Sorry. Surfpool Cloud Start. Select the workspace. Name it. I'll call this changelog. Description. Changelog. Surfnet. Enter the data source. So yeah, we're going to use the default Solana mainnet beta account. We can say the block production mode will do produce blocks every 400 milliseconds. And if everything goes according to plan, we've got an RPC URL that I can share with you. And you can, we've got this dashboard where I can see my hosted surfnet, and then I can copy my RPC URL, and I can deploy whatever things I need to it, right? So like I can say this environment, I'm going to SVM set account.
Okay.
And now this, now I can share, as a team, we can all just work off of this same RPC.
So wait, how did this, is this like deploying to your infrastructure?
Exactly. Yeah. So we're hosting this for you. So this is our first offering of like a SaaS product that we're currently unveiling is like, this is the first time we've ever talked about it. We completed it yesterday. So very, very fresh. But yeah, you can just pretty much sign up for an account and have a hosted environment that you can configure how you need to, and your team can start deploying to it. You've got, it makes it very easy for a team to work together on something. And sorry, lost my train of thought there. But yeah, we're very excited about this.
Yeah, this one's a big feature because I actually know quite a few teams want this. There was another project that we're actually using kind of like this to run tests from. So what we do right now is with on Solana.com, right? We have a bunch of code examples. What we recently rolled out was like a little button that just says run, and it's actually running on someone else's infrastructure, the code, so that we can provide like what was the output of the code, so you can, it's basically like a code pen. But because we had to run it on someone else's infrastructure that's basically running Solana Test Validator with like program deployments, etc., we needed something special, not just code pen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. And wasn't there Mirror?
Yeah, that was Mirror.
Okay. Yeah. So we see this being used for teams having common infrastructure, but also like if you've got a private beta for your protocol, you can set one of these up, deploy your protocol, and then just like people can start interacting with it. You can build your point your front end to this, and people can start using your protocol, but on just like a network that's not mainnet yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, different question. Is there a way that you can use Surfpool to point towards specific accounts that update a lot and keep it to where it's like updating with that account? A great example is oracles, right? Oracles are updating all the time. And what people have problems with testing is they're like, okay, I want to use Pyth on local, or Pyth even on DevNet.
Yeah.
And they're like, I need to update the price of Sol or something. Can you make it to where it like auto updates in like a runbook or something here?
Yeah, I see a comment from Azoth Zephyr in the chat, and he brought the same thing up to me earlier this week. We were chatting about this, and he's like, "This would be really cool for oracles." We don't have that, but we want to be able to. You can subscribe to some accounts like Oracle accounts and simulate or just reproduce mainnet traffic. So we listen to mainnet traffic to that account and then just send it onto this network. Or we also want to be able to like just simulate traffic for accounts as well that we can make up the transactions. So we want to be able to offer both of those. I think copying mainnet traffic is the easier and most obvious thing that we definitely want to be able to do.
Is there just a flag to set the specific RPC URL to use for that?
To you
For which RPC to copy from mainnet?
Well, that's not a feature yet.
Okay.
For the mainnet traffic, but like whenever you set up, like whenever I did Surfpool Cloud Start, one of the questions was enter the RPC URL for the data source. So like all of the mainnet data is coming from whatever you put here.
Yeah, I could see you getting rate limited if you do like oracles. Like I could see mainnet beta RPC like basically kill switching you.
Yeah.
Looks like the one time that you flip to the stream on your computer, it showcased the URL and all these people are trying to join.
Did you launch a coin? No. There's a lot of questions asking if we launched a token.
No, I don't know who these people are. I'm guessing somebody retweeted us and now we're just getting like hammered. Oh, looks like it was Tolly. Whatever.
Oh my gosh, they keep coming. This is really funny.
All right, cool. Anyways, any other features you want to talk about?
I think this covered it. Yeah, I guess other than that, I would just say try it out, report any issues. Yeah, we're excited to be building open source, so check out the repo and yeah.
Could you I guess showcase the repo so people can see it?
Yeah. Am I able to put things into the chat?
I don't think so. I think you'll have to go onto the actual stream and put it there.
txtx/surfpool on GitHub. Yeah, that's us.
Yeah, it looks like the chat kind of got crazy. Anyways, okay. I think we can end it here. Let me switch it to this. All right. Well, thank you for joining me today on this week's changelog. I am really excited about Surfpool. I am excited to try some of these new features. I apparently need to update Surfpool locally to get these. But yeah, if
sometimes we're releasing like 3 times a day, so yeah, just Surfpool upgrade.
There you go. Yeah, I think maybe I need to start doing that. Do y'all release, like, give release notes for all the upgrades on Twitter or something?
We always have them on GitHub, and for anything, not like a hot fix or something like that, we try and post it on Twitter. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, well, thank you for joining us, and thank you everyone that tuned into this live stream. And definitely, if you are a developer, try out Surfpool. Try it as an alternative to Solana Test Validator, because I think most people will be using it in the future. But thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jay.